welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic.
Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Pauper at the request of Patreon subscriber Brad, and this is Golgari Dredge. This is a deck that popped up a couple years ago, year and a half ago. Don't remember the exact timeline. It's relatively new in terms of the breadth of a proper Eternal format like Pauper is, but Dread Return and Lotleth Giant both got downshifted to common at some point, which gave us a reason to be a Dredge deck. Dredge is the mechanic from the original Ravnica that has basically broken every format it's been allowed in. Extended, Legacy, Modern, and Vintage all have Dredge decks, or Extended did. That format doesn't exist anymore, but this was a monster. Right around the time I was stepping into the competitive scene, I played Dredge at my first Grand Prix I ever played in. That was Extended. And the goal is replace your draws with dredging, and then fill your graveyard with stuff, and then do stuff out of your graveyard without ever really casting spells or playing Magic in the way that we would traditionally envision it. The goal of this deck is to have Lotleth Giant in your graveyard. This is a 7-drop, 6/5. When it enters, it deals 1 damage to target opponent for each creature card in your graveyard. Dread Return is a 4-mana Reanimate, a Zombify, and you can cast it out of your graveyard if you sacrifice 3 creatures. This deck is full of random bodies that also mill you. Satyr Wayfinder, 2 mana, when it enters, look at your top 4, put a land in your hand, the rest in your graveyard. Malevolent Rumble, look at 4, put a permanent in your hand, make a Eldrazi spawn. Circle of Land Druid, when it enters, mill 4, when it dies, regrow a land. Scrapwork Mutt, when it enters, you discard a card, draw a card. Troll of Khazad-dûm and Generascent put themselves directly in the graveyard, and those are good for Exhume. You've got that kind of cheese Reanimate, quicker version of the deck, if you're not dredging that hard yet. And all these random little bodies that also fuel your graveyard are quite good to sacrifice to Dread Return, which gets back Lotleth Giant, which hopefully by that point you have a bunch of creatures in your graveyard and you just burn your opponent out. You can of course also take chip shots. These things, most of them do have at least a little bit of power and toughness. Every damage you deal is a damage Lotleth Giant doesn't have to. I mentioned the Exhume package. You could cycle Troll of Khazad-dûm on 1, Exhume it on 2. Opponent has a nearly unblockable 6/5 they got to deal with. Banned in Legacy for these exact play patterns. This deck is obviously weak to graveyard hate. That's kind of Dredge's whole thing. You usually get away with game 1 because your opponent's not ready for you, and then a bunch of graveyard hate comes in out of the sideboard. That's true in all formats. And then we gotta find our spots, navigate the tough anti-graveyard cards that everyone's gonna have in the sideboard, but that's the plan. It's slower than Legacy or Vintage Dredge, necessarily because of the card pool, but it is slow and steady. It's just a Golgari value deck that's pretty sweet. Let's try it out. This is Golgari Dredge. I'm on the play in run 1. It is important for Dredge to be able to do its thing. My hand is kind of slow because Conduit Pylons doesn't tap for green till it has help. I think I am going to keep, though, having two mills and enough mana to... I guess I don't have enough mana to cast my spells yet, but we're close. With 8 land cyclers in the deck and all these ways to mill and find lands, I'm willing to be a little aggressive on my mana base, as long as the hand functions in terms of milling myself. Alright, opponent's an Island Ponder gamer. Handsome and smart. Alright, we're going to give away the secret here. I did draw the green source. I could get one of these tap lands and play it while the getting's good. Or I could get Forest and use Conduit Pylons to mill me for 1 right now. I think I want a tap land. I'll get this Haunted Mire. Just get it out of the way. Okay, we're against the Is It version of this. Ooh, Last Rites. Do I want to fire that into a Spell Pierce? This card could break the game open. Discard any number of cards, target player reveals their hand, then you choose an all-land card from it. For each card discarded this way, that player discards those cards. This is just like a massive mind twist that can kick in at some point. I think I'm going to play Conduit Pylons and Circle of the Land Druid. That's interesting. That changes things up a little. That card's good enough that it would bait a counterspell, but I'm going to mill past it. Rumble can't take it. I guess if I leave this on top, I could play Stinkweed Imp right now. Just put it into play. This card's really annoying because it has pseudo Death Touch. It's a triggered ability that whenever it deals combat damage to a creature, destroy that creature. It's a little different than Death Touch, but it does block things like Tolarian Terror and kill it. And a deck with red removal never wants to kill it because then it's in my graveyard where I can dredge it. I don't actually even have high confidence that it was good to play that out because I do want it in my hand to discard, but I think it's going to be annoying. Oh, come on. Speaking of annoying, there's the main deck, Nile Spellbomb. All right. Well, I guess this is why I left Entomb on top. Or Exhume. Now they're showing me Counterspell, though. All right. Well, Exhume. This will either get a Counterspell or get the Nile Spellbomb out. And Nile Spellbomb's interesting because there is it. All right. Counterspell used. And damage in. Well, they must have a third color in their deck. In my Pauper control deck that I've been playing, I am running main deck Bajuka Bogs. This is part of the metagame that you need to respect. I think I am going to play this other Stinkweed Imp. With the Nile Spellbomb in play, they're less worried about it here. But I mentioned in the deck tech that normally in the sideboard, we're going to have scrappy, shitty games. And because of their Nile Spellbomb, we're just going to have them anyway. Okay, so they killed my Stinkweed Imps and then immediately bombed me. That unlocks the graveyard. That is half of my Stinkweed Imps that I play, though. Tolarian Terror. And a tapped land. This is a big turn to last rights their ass. How many cards am I willing to discard? If I rumble, that'll replace something in my hand with something else. Unless I miss. I think this is the turn to rumble, though. Okay. I'm going to go Forest, Rumble. How many of these cards am I going to discard? Probably 3 of them. Generous Ent does brick Tolarian Terror. Yeah, I think I'm just on the discard their whole hand strat here. All right, last rights you. I'm going to go for 3 and leave Circle of Land Druid in. All right, I would like to take your Tolarian Terror, and Murmuring Mystic. That card was sick. Let's see if I can leverage it. Terror getting through. Circle of the Land Druid. Get in there. I would like to mill 4 cards. Hit Scrapwork Mutt. And Knot of the Bone. That'll buy me a bunch of time. I'm going to cycle this Troll. Just build my mana up. Oh, I'm out of swamps. Oh my god. That's embarrassing. Yeah, I just milled over 2 swamps. Alright, well. Awkward, but okay. Alright, they're bolting my Druid who regrows a swamp. I ended up with a swamp one way or another. Scoreboard. Yep, 4 swamps in the deck. Gotta keep track of that. Brainstorm. Oh god, they have not only the initiative, but now have me on a 1-turn clock from a 3. Knot of the Bone gonna be pretty important here. Alright, Satyr Wayfinder, go do stuff. I'll take the Forest, because I don't need red in the main deck. I'll play this Forest, and I'll flashback Knot to the Bone. Chomp, 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 chomp. Gain 14 life. This is a winnable game still. The Scrapwork Mud is my second creature. If I can get a third, I could put a Dread Return on the stack. Just attacking with the 5/2. They don't want to lose the Monarch here. Good idea. Knot of the Bone. I don't want to use my Mutt until I'm ready to send. I think I'm just going to Knot of the Bone to stay alive for a while. They're cracking Seething Landscape. Do they not have black mana? Is this actually Nile Spellbomb just graveyard hate? Fascinating if true. Just Tormod Script, 1 mana Tormod Script. They gotta have a black dual land or something in this deck. It wouldn't make sense not to. Alright, I'm gonna fire Knot of the Bone probably twice in their end step. Just get that life bank where I can get it. At 42. Big. Okay. Malevolent Rumble. They probably have to counter this if they can. Yep. Okay, so I could Mutt and take the initiative here, but I think that's wrong. Dread Return is just what the game's about. Hardcast Lorien revealed. Terrifying. The 4th Terror, that's all of them. 1 mana open does not represent counterspell. This would be a big turn to draw a creature. Not that one specifically, but I will cast it. Scred just kills anything here. Another Lorien revealed. 8 cards in hand. Ooh, not interested in attacking. The race is not on. Ooh, Scrapwork Mutt from hand is pretty powerful. I don't get to loot if I don't have a card. If I attack with Troll, they'll probably triple block and I can trade off with a Terror. Do I even care about that? Do I want that? Maybe. Or they'd probably block with Commodore. This one has Trample, but it's also smaller. I could unearth this Mutt, which can discard this Mutt, get an actual card, then unearth Mutt again and get deeper into my deck and have a bunch of Mutts. We've seen, I think, 2 counter spells. If Dread Return gets countered, I'm kind of out of gas. I think I am going to offer up this Troll in combat. All right, they have to block with everything if they're blocking with anything. I'm over here talking about like they get to decide. They don't. All right, 2 mana still up. There are 8 creatures in my graveyard, so this isn't even lethal. Losing those 2 Stinkweed Imps early was tough. Maybe I was not supposed to play out the second one. All right, I'm going to hold on to the Mutt until it can do more. They're in for 10. Despite having milled myself for 4 multiple times this game, they have fewer cards left in their deck than I do. That's how good their draw engine is. Oh, the many Mutts. The multi-Mutt bonus. Okay, first Mutt. Discard other Mutt. Exhume. I don't hate that. They get back Tolarian Terror, which isn't great for me. But if I can set up a big Lotleth situation, right, Exhume. If their hand is not a single removal or counterspell, I can win the game here. But I don't think I can pretend that's going to be true. I think I can beat 1 removal spell. Lose focus. All right. That's a good counterspell. Yeah, I don't like going for it here. I can put multiple Mutts into play next turn, throw cards around. Murmuring Mystic. A lot of threats in this build. Taking another 10. I could trade with this Commodore. That's just less damage I have to take over my life. But I don't think that's what the game's about. I think it's about being able to cast multiple Dread Returns in a turn. Circle of the Land Druid. I think I'm just going to play that. Okay, they're Lightning Bolting Satyr Wayfinder in response, so they're treading water against having 3 creatures at a time. I would like to mill 4 cards. Scrapwork Mutt, please come back. I need you to save me. The Mutt's in. I don't have any cards to discard. There's only 11 creatures in my graveyard. This isn't enough to win. But I will send the first of many Dread Returns. Get back Conduit Pylons. Spell Pierce. Well, they must have more of those. Okay, yep. That Nile Spellbomb breaking up my early momentum, and then they were able to just be a good blue deck. So here, Pyroblast is a useful card. Some number of Ancient Grudges could force the issue on their spell bombs. I feel like Exhume is the best thing I can do in this matchup. Evolution Witness. This could get grindy if the game's about grindy. I don't think I have 8 cards to cut. Like, Gnaw to the Bone, I can play less of. Scrapwork Mutt. The Dread Returns are pretty soft to counters. I play just a little bit less of that. I think I'm actually going all my Gnaw to the Bones out. That would give me 4 Pyroblasts. Do I want any number of Ancient Grudge? Probably desirable. Last Rites was sick. That was the only reason I was even remotely competitive that game. I think I'm going to go down 1 Dread Return, up 1 Ancient Grudge. Oh shit. No. I hit submit. I didn't take the 4 out. All right, the 64 card special. Well, that's awkward. I mean, it's a legal deck, but it's going to be a lot worse. Okay, I've got 2 mana here. I have the Ancient Grudge. I'm going to send... I don't actually want Dread Return and Lotleth Giant in my hand. I have 3 of each in my deck. Casting Dread Return from hand is more likely than casting Lotleth Giant, I think. I'm going to start with Conduit Pylons, because their deck does care about its graveyard a little bit. If I can find a better spot for this Bajuka Bog, I'll take it. Sick. Alright. Swamp Cycle, Troll of Khazad-dûm. I need the green one to continue play, even though I have a red card in my hand. But I do have Conduit Pylons that can enable it. Nile Spellbomb. Okay, this is what Ancient Grudge is for. Generous Ent. I could Wayfinder, roll the dice, just get something on board. Alright, I'm going to use Wayfinder. I can't cast Ancient Grudge here anyway, but if I can hit a land drop, that's nice. And my graveyard is pretty tasty here. I did hit a Dread Return, Lawless Giant, and Scrapwork Mutt, and the Knot of the Bone's already there. It would be great for me if they just live in fear of the Spell Bomb, but without Stinkweed, there's no reason for that to be true. I think I might play towards just casting Generous Ents. Right, End Step Brainstorm, Upkeep, Cycle Lorien Revealed, Snow-Covered Island. I can now do some Satyr Wayfinder related chip shots. Alright, I'll attack with Wayfinder. Find the way. If this Wayfinder hits an untapped land, I can threaten a Dread Return. Alright, it missed completely. That's fine. Bajuka Bog You. It's good for 2. I'll take it. That's 2 turns off of Galarian Terror. Next turn, I'll force the action on their Nile Spellbomb. Ice Tunnel. They do have a black mana. Alright, if I make them Nile Spellbomb this turn, at least they don't get to draw a card. Okay, Scrapwork Mutt. Activate. They didn't bomb in response. Do I want to offer multiple Dread Returns to them? I think I have to. And I could Mutt again here. I think I want to just attack them and then second main play Dread Return. If they bomb me in combat, it's mostly fine. Okay, this is happening anyway. I'm going to Dread Return target Lawless Giant. They could counterspell this and protect their Nile Spellbomb in the future. Right. Knot of the Bone with my floating mana, or available mana. Might as well just gain 14 on the way through. Okay, so that's 2 Dread Returns, 1 Lawless Giant, 2 Scrapwork Mutts gone. But I am now 1 mana away from casting Generous Ents. Okay. Exhume. That's almost helpful. Oh, it is helpful. I have Ancient Grudge. Alright, Ancient Grudge you. Take that thing out. Yeah, they can draw a card when this dies. Regrettably. That's handled. Cycle Generous Ent. We've seen Spell Pierce in the deck. I'm going to play around it. I'm going to get a Wooded Ridgeline and pass here. I guess if I was going to do that, I should have end-stepped the Ancient Grudge. Okay, no Graveyard Hate in play. Conduit Pylons. Pyroblast, fascinating. In that case, do I want to just be patient here? I could just cast a Generous Ent. I'll do that. I gotta start spending mana doing stuff, getting answers out of their hand. Lose focus on that one. You got me. Next turn, I can exhume around all soft permission, and then... Alright, that card's really good. A lot better than Generous Ent. Okay. Exhume. My opponent has no creatures in their graveyard. This is the time to do it. Alright, that's just resolved. I'll take it. Scred kills this thing. I've got a Big O in play. Alright, my opponent said I'm getting serious splash hate from the Spy metagame. I'm out of the Pauper loop. Is Loopsall Spells ruining this format too? Galarian Terror. I think I do want to not have that card in play. Does this food token do anything, or should I just gain the life while I have mana around? I don't think I use artifacts for anything. Circle of the Land Druid. Alright, well, I hope I don't lose focus here. Another Generous Ent. We're in. And Scred takes a while to heat up, but it's undeniable once you're in the late game. Yeah, just Swords to Plowshares, except I don't even gain the life. Busted. I should be leaving green up for Ancient Grudge. A Ponder from the opponent. I think we're over the hump here, and this game is not particularly winnable anymore. Took a few shots at it. Alright, Satyr Wayfinder. Find the Way. Counterspell. Alright, looks like they're willing to counter, like, literally anything at this point. Another Counterspell. Yeah, they're just jamming them out there. 2 cards left in hand. A Lorien Revealed or them getting the Monarch are pretty bad for me. But flushing out 2 Counterspells like that is pretty promising. Alright. I could kill the Murmuring Mystic. I should probably do that on their turn if I'm going to do it. And the damage is mostly done here from that thing, but let's not keep snowballing. Attack for 5 down to 24. A Forest. I'll keep that in case I draw Scrapwork Mutt. I think I said earlier that there was only 1 left in the deck, but there are 2 because I misclicked and didn't actually take the sideboard cards out. Circle of Land Druid. Let's go. Something that's anything. I'll take it. I would like to mill 4. I milled 3 powerful spells and a swamp. Nothing that actually wants to be used in the graveyard. Birds keep chunking. All my Knot of the Bones are in, even though they probably shouldn't be. Okay, a real card. Malevolent Rumble. That resolved very quickly. Lotleth Giant. Can't quite cast it. I'll take Generous Ent. And I did mill over a Knot of the Bone. That's great. Land from hand. Ent could actually stabilize this game. Okay. Attack with Circle of Land Druid. We're pushing back. Tolarian Terror. Okay. They're back on board. Ent is better than that, though. And Ent has reach. I can eat these birds. I milled over a Knot of the Bone. And they're not attacking all of a sudden. Have we turned the corner? Fascinating. I thought for sure we were dead. I would like to mill 4. I hit a Scrapwork Mutt. I don't really have attacks here. And all of my Dread Returns are in, right? I think I clicked some things correctly. All right, I actually did cut 1 Dread Return. Well, there's 1 Dread Return left in the deck. All my Lotless Giants are there. There's 2 Exhumes left. I'll eat my food token. Forest. I can mutt that. Unlike last game, I don't need the mutt to, like, literally do anything. Ooh, okay. I can hard cast this around Spell Pierce. Fire it. What do you got? There's 6 creatures in my graveyard, so this would deal 5 on entry, because it doesn't count itself. Breath Weapon in response. That'll just make my Spy deal more, or my Giant deal more damage. Right, that's interesting. I'll get back Ridgeline and Swamp off these triggers. I wonder if they have a spell that exiles graveyards, like Crypt Incursion or something. I will concede on the spot to that. Lose focus. Okay. The 2-phase plan to kill all my shit and then counter my spell. Alright, it works. I get some lands back. And I'll slug it out with this Tolarian Terror. Let's go. I'm ahead on the damage race. You want to trade? Sweet. They do want to trade. Oh no, I'm Murmuring Mystic. My nemesis. Alright, a lot of Knot of the Bones available. Nothing else. My Scrapwork Mutt's gone. Alright, I'm going to have to gnaw these bones pretty good. Unlike last game, I have half the cards in my deck my opponent does. Oh no. Off you go. I think I'm going to Knot of the Bone in response. Let me just get some life before their hands full of counterspells again. Okay, back to dealing damage. Haven't seen a Stinkweed Imp. There are 16 cards left in my deck. That's reasonable. I think I'm going to destroy this Mystic. Or is it more important for me to resolve a spell? All my Dread Returns are accounted for. I think I have to ignore Mystic. Ponder. Brainstorm. The Ponder did not shuffle. Tolarian Terror. I think I just have to ignore everything that's dealing damage to me and use my Gnaw to the Bones to stay alive. I think I'm going to save this Gnaw until like a turn where I'm actually doing something. Oh, interesting. All right, I'm going to save this Swamp and pass. The Swamp is now Last Rites fodder. We're getting Lightning Bolts to the Dome now. They're trying to get out of here. Got somewhere to be. 15 cards left in my 64 card deck and no look at Stinkweed Imp. Just impossible. 5, 10. I'm still going to hold on to Knot of the Bone. Oy, oy, oy. I would like to have Stinkweed Imp in my hand when I cast Last Rites. Here comes another 10 damage. I can gain 36 life in the end step. That's a lot. Alright. Bones. Gnaw on them. I can leave that in the graveyard for a little bit. That just bought me some time. I might have more creatures at some point in the future. Okay, here we go. Now, well, if I Exhume, their graveyard is full of dope creatures. They've got Terrors, Mystics. Exhume's not even good. Exhume would get back Lotleth Giant, which does take a chunk out of them. Right, I think I'm going to try to be super patient. If I can get to 3 creatures in play and hit them with Lotleth Giant twice in a turn, like Last Rites and Pyroblast are the cards that could make that happen. Down to 17. If I draw a Stinkweed Imp, that is a huge stabilizing blocker. Okay, finally, this card does exist. I think I'm just going to cast it. Having it in play is important. That I'm 1/3 of the way to Dread Return now. I'm stabilized against Tolarian Terror. If they use removal, I can start dredging. 12 cards left in my deck. I don't get a lot of Dredge 5s left here. All right, they've parked the truck. Let's go. Stinkweed doing its job. Troll of Khazad-dûm. I can cast that card too. All right, I'm going to Last Rites them and discard 2 cards. A counterspell. I'll Pyroblast counterspell. They get a bird. Last Rites back on top of the stack. Spell Pierce. They might just be flushing out to try to get more birds before their hand gets ripped. I'll pay. I'll bite. We can do this. Spell Pierce. 2 cards left over there. Is triple Spell Pierce the name of the game here? Okay, they've got 2 cards left. I'm going to discard my Forest. So they might just be holding lands. I could cast Exhume this turn. That's not good, though. All right, I'm going to go just Forest. All right. We won that gamble. Their hand is Volatile Fjord and Breath Weapon. We took the Breath Weapon. I can play Swamp now. And I'm not dead on board. I am at under 5 minutes on my clock, though. I've been thinking pretty hard, it seems. I'm not going to have time for game 3, even if I win this one. But that's okay. We have showcased the deck and what it does. I'll take it. Okay. I think I want Stinkweed Imp in play. I'm just going to block a bird here. Take a big chunk of damage. They've got 1 card in their hand that isn't Volatile Fjord. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Troll of Khazad-dûm. Gnaw to the Bone. Let's fire that right now. Okay. Got a head. I'm at 24. Just got to make sure my things work. They are scredding my troll. That's okay. There are 10 creatures in the graveyard. Opponents at 14 life. I think I am going to block now and set up because dredging. I need my... Okay, hit Scrapwork Mud. That's big. I need my Lotless Giant, the 1 shot I get to actually win the game. I guess I get 2 shots here because if Exhume resolves, they're just dead. There are 14 cards in my graveyard, though. I need there to be 15. Unearth Mutt, discard Troll. I can Dredge Imp here. I don't think I can afford to. Can I afford not to? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Oh, if I had tapped better. Shit, I tapped too many swamps. I would actually have 2 shots here at winning the game. But I'm not going to dredge. I drew Stinkweed Imp anyway. Magic's easy. Alright, I'll go for the game-ending Exhume. It resolved. I'll get Lotless Giant. 14. Or no, it's only 13. Wait, why is it only 13? How did this happen? Didn't I count to 14? Oh, I didn't count the Scrapwork Mutt. Shit. Alright, well, opponent's at 1. Oh, I could have Dread returned the other Lotless Giant. I messed up. Ugh, I got so confused. Alright, well, this deck is not easy to play, and we can see me making mistakes in real time, though we are also kind of winning here. I'm going to play another Stinkweed Imp and Dread return the other Lotless Giant and hope they have not drawn Counterspell in between last turn and this turn. I had it last turn, though. Okay, we're in. Wow, remember when I said like 18 minutes ago, I've definitely lost this game? Sweet. That was awesome. Okay, Suffocating Fumes is a card I could play to clear out the birds. And that play pattern worked out pretty well. I'm actually going to sideboard out the cards that I meant to last time, though. I think I'm going to go 0 Gnaw to the Bone. I just don't have time for a game where that would be relevant. That was exciting, though. I mean, the grinding power of this deck, that was through 2 Nile Spell Bombs, got a bunch of stuff countered. My sideboard was just wrong because I clicked wrong. All right, I'm going to go for a hyper-fast cheese game where I don't have a lot of time to think. 2.5 minutes to my opponent's 8.5. Pylons. I will put Mutt on top of my library. Mutt's really good for me here. Mutt can discard Stinkweed Imp and then immediately dredge Stinkweed Imp. Opponent is playing no colored mana right now. Mutt, discard Imp, dredge Imp, off the very same draw. Big swing. Another Lorien Revealed cycled. Untapping into excellent mana, grabbing their Ice Tunnel. The black is unlocked. The tiny black splash. I will dredge Stinkweed Imp. I have access to other lands here. potentially in the form of Satyr Wayfinder, which they'll probably lose focus if they have it. Indeed they did. Can't pay. All right, chip shots. Doing damage. Okay, they don't have lands, which means their hand is all spells. Conduit Pylons. Generous Ent. I think I'd rather have in the graveyard. Satyr Wayfinder. We're in there. Bajuka Bog found. Okay. Not the land I'm looking for, but a land. I got 2 creatures in play now. End step Brainstorm. Yeah, I'm just playing fast. That Conduit Pylon should not have been played. I have a bunch of tap lands in the deck, including the Bajuka Bog and all the duels. And the duels turn on red really well. Not ideal. Okay, they're still playing Drago with me. Bajuka Bog, hit your graveyard. Let's not have any big serpents show up. Something's happening in combat here. Oh, changed their mind. I'm just passing with Pyroblast available. They're just going to sweep me. Yeah, Breath Weapon's cool. You got it. Ponder. I'm going to cycle Troll for a red duel in the end step. I hope there is one. Yeah, I haven't actually milled over any lands. In all of these mills, there are 0 lands in my graveyard. That's weird. The Nemesis. I have the Ancient Grudge. So we're not like ice cold here. All right. Ancient Grudge. F your Spellbomb. Obviously, just terrible. I lose 2 mutts off of that. Cycle Troll. Get the red land. The coast is clear at the moment to cast some spells. Malevolent Rumble. I'll take Scrapwork Mutt. Okay. I'll play Scrapwork Mutt. Yeah, I'll play Scrapwork Mutt. Discard and Dredge Stinkweed Imp. Play the red land and pass. I still haven't seen a Dread return, though they're all still floating around somewhere. Lawless Giant in my hand. Another Spellbomb. Disappointing. Okay, attack with Scrapwork Mutt. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 7 mana right now, which means I'm going to play Stinkweed Imp and pass. At 8 mana, I can protect Lawless Giant with Pyroblast. Breath Weapon can't stop that. And now they can bomb my Imp if they want to. I'm not going to Dredge. I am going to Mutt immediately. Is this where you put your bomb? Yep. Okay. We got the bomb out of the way. Yeah, the ironic twist here is that the bombing, while annoying, is honestly, if I had 5 minutes on my clock instead of 27 seconds, I would feel like we're still playing here. They just tapped red, then untapped it, like they were going to kill Stinkweed Imp, then realized that that's what my deck wants. All right. The Commodore, and now you have to kill my flyer. Or not. Wait till my turn is fine. Wait till combat. Imp. There's the Scred. There's the Circle of Land Druid. Mill me. Dread Return revealed. I think I would rather... Like, I'm going to play this game like I have 10 minutes on my clock, and I think I would remove Murmuring Mystic if it was up to me here. Because I need to cheese over for damage. Dredge Stinkweed Imp. Cast Lawless Giant. Guess I should have attacked first. It's just 1 more damage. But I'm out of time anyway. Okay. I actually think we are fine to maybe even ahead in this game, clock notwithstanding. It's round 1, and I feel like I've played 17 rounds with this deck already. I've learned a lot, and my brain is mush. On to the next one. The BoshNRoll channel is brought to you by Tales of Adventure. TOAMagic.com has almost 100,000 unique cards in stock. They offer free track shipping on every order, plus next day or 2-day options when you have an event coming up fast. They offer on-site pickup at major Magic events throughout the US, so you're never scrambling before your tournament. Stop by their booth to buy, sell, or trade at upcoming regional championships, Magic Con, Spotlight Series, and more. I love their selection of individually scanned high-end cards that show you exactly what you're buying. And the best part is saving 5% on every order with promo code BOSH. From Ancestral Recall to Zombie Master, get what you need quickly and in one place at TOAMagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the play in round 2. Great. Mill myself open. I'm going to lead on the Pylons, which does give my deck away, but I think I'm okay with that. I'll leave Last Rites on top. I'm going to shuffle it away anyway, but it's a card I would like in my deck. Good. It's this again. I hope we're in for another 50-minute game. Forest Cycle for the Black Forest Haunted Mire. Gonna get a Malevolent Rumble in here while The coast is clear. I would like Scrapwork Mutt in my hand, Stinkweed Imp in my graveyard. The perfect rumble. I can dredge 10 cards next turn. Fairy Seer. Okay, so it's not the same deck we just played against. This one is probably lower to the ground, probably has some ninjas in it. If they went top bottom. This is a big opening. No counterspells up. Lotleth Giant in my graveyard. Scrapwork Mutt. Do I want to play Scrapwork Mutt off of Spawn? I could Rumble first, see if I find an untapped land. Yeah, I'm actually going to Rumble first. Found an untapped land, put some creatures in the graveyard. That's an extra spawn. Now I can Mutt, discard, Stinkweed Imp. There's an Imp and a Giant in my graveyard already. So I'm actually going to discard the Giant and dredge the Imp. And pass the turn. I haven't found a Dread Return yet. That's the missing piece. Fairy Seer. Okay. Top. Scary. All right. We're getting ninja'd. Just 1 damage. What do we got? Wait, drew Dread Return for turn. Nice. Maybe nice. Maybe terrible. To be determined. Circle of the Land Druid, who I'm hoping mills a Scrapwork Mutt. Spellstutter Sprite. I was going to find a home somewhere. And I actually am okay trading Scrapwork Mutt because I want it in the graveyard. It's better for me there. Ponder. So if I had discarded Stinkweed Imp last turn instead of Lotleth Giant, I would have had a second Imp to dredge and it would have hit Dread Return. Now they're showing Counterspell. It's just getting worse every second. However, I do have Gnawed of the Bones. I could play a Stinkweed Imp, which, as we've discussed, is a nice wall of misery against decks that can't actually exile it. Attack with the Mutt. Alright, yeah, Skretting Stinkweed Imp is a vibe. Deal. I think what I want to do here is end step Gnaw to the Bone, which cost me my Eldrazi, but if they spend a counterspell on that, I can untap and hardcast Dread Return. Brainstorm. Every time they tap a blue land is a win for me. That's just one less counterspell I have to think about. The secret background clock that's ticking is, do they have main deck graveyard hate, and how long till they find it? And I'm going to Gnaw to the Bone. There are 10 creatures in my graveyard. Do they care about me gaining 20 life? I've played the other side of this matchup a lot, and I think you have to ignore stuff like this. You just can't afford to care about them carrying about 20 life. Like, even if you care, you can't afford it. Dredge Stinkweed Imp. There's a Scrapwork Mutt in the graveyard now. I don't have clean red. My red is ugly. Alright. I'll put Stinkweed Imp back into play. There's just enough things going on that are a little bit annoying for my opponent that firing this Dread Return seems messy. Augur of Bolus. They're ready to look at the bottom 3 cards of their deck. Oh yeah, missed. It's never hit. It's never happened in Magic. Multiple Dread Returns. Now I can start really sending these. Alright, Dread Return, target Lotleth Giant. Filter a black. Spell Pierce, okay. And I'll pass. And now they know that one's in my graveyard. Fairy Seer, another one. Troll of Khazad-dûm. Do I want a land? Do I want... I think I'm going to take my time here and just cast Stinkweed Imp. They're not attacking. I don't feel particularly threatened by anything that's going on. I'm going to cycle for a red source, get the Geothermal Bog, and I'll pass. I can Dread Return multiple times next turn. They've got 3 cards in hand. I didn't draw Last Rites, unfortunately. I did draw another Swamp to player on soft permission, though. Okay, Dread Returns on the stack with not quite lethal creature count. Counterspell. Alright. And I think I'm going to pass again, because I can get a Mutt next turn. Augur. Brainstorm. They found a card. It's the first time we've made Magic history here today. There goes Brainstorm. If I cast a Dread Return and it gets countered, I can bring back 2 Mutts, but I'm missing the 3rd creature. Mutt. Yeah, I'm 1 mana short of Stinkweed Imp. They've got 2 cards in hand. They literally can't afford to fight over Gnawed of the Bone. because they know they're dead. It's on board. There's no trick here. There's no sub game. Ooh, okay. Big. 1, 2, 3. I can play an imp. Dread Return, target Lotleth Giant. Counter spell. Now I can... Wait, this is the same. I'm so bad at this. Okay. I could... How many mutts are left in my deck? 2. I can see 10 cards here. Milling over the mutt doesn't help, though. So it's Unearth Mutt. Unfortunately, this costs red, which is the biggest gate here. I have plenty of raw mana. Right, I guess I'm going to cast Stinkweed Imp. I should have cast the Stinkweed Imp past the turn and next turn gone for several. Lorien revealed. It's very good. Okay, they can't cast Counterspell here. That's huge. They can cast Dread or Fairy Spellstutter Sprite. Oh wow, they're just giving up. They're not even bluffing it. They're just putting a ninja in here and then accepting their death. Deal. Unless there's a main deck Tormod script, because they've already made their land drop. I don't think this deck will have foil in it. There is one free counterspell that exists in this format. I'm going to Dredge Stinkweed Imp, and then Unearth a Mutt, discard Imp, Dredge Imp, Unearth another Mutt, discard Imp. Alright, cool. The grind. That's what the game looks like when there's not multiple main deck Nile spell bombs. They just keep going and I keep pushing back. A quick look at lists on Goldfish. Don't show me a lot of graveyard hate in the Is It decks. Like we paired into somebody who was splashing Grixis for Nile Spellbomb last round. They were also on Is It Control Scred rather than this fairy build. This build's going to try to play from ahead more, like the ninjas and stuff, the flying blockers jumping the spell stutter up and down. Pyroblast is good. I could see arguments for Suffocating Fumes. If they have Graveyard Hate, it's going to be an artifact, so those are maybes. I think I'm going to shave some bones. I mean, Mutt's really good for grinding, but you got to find slots somewhere, and that does seem like one of the weaker ones. Dread Return is soft to their counter spells. I am bringing a bunch of stuff that tries to beat their counter spells. I don't think I have room for Suffocating Fumes. Can I get one Ancient Grudge in here? Alright, I'm going to actually cut these cards before I forget. Maybe I want 0 Gnaw to the Bone. Like, that did make the game unraceable for them last game. But was that actually good or just comforting? I'm going to try this. Solid opener. I've got my colors. I've got 2 movers and shakers. Ridgeline Pass. I think I'm going to save Conduit Pylons now that I've found a Stinkweed Imp. I'm leading with the less good of my things. If they just fire off a counterspell because they have it here or they're trying to curve out, I would prefer the Circle Druid to be countered to my Scrapwork Mutt. Milled 4 lands. Circle of the Land Druid, by the way, I haven't mentioned this. There is the green one from the Floggy Archaeologist cycle that a lot of decks play. And I don't know why we're on this one. You have to ask Brad. There's multiple similar effects you could play in this spot, and this is the one that is being played. Conduit Pylon. Generous Ent. I don't need that. Satyr Wayfinder. Find the Way. Right, Forest, and I've milled over a Stinkweed Imp. Now, if they're sitting on Graveyard Hate, they're incentivized to use some of it. Cycling Lorien. They got an island and passed with it. Dredging my Imp. Scrapwork Mutt in there. 2 Lotleth Giants. No Dread Return yet. Alright, I'll play this Stinkweed Imp. I've got 2 of them. And if their plan is to sit on counterspells forever, taking 3 a turn will change that quickly. We know they play sweepers, or they could play sweepers. But the fairy deck is a lot worse at playing sweepers than the control deck we just played against is. Right, yeah, they're spreading Stinkweed Imps. That's a deal. 4 cards left in hand. They now have a fairy. Are we going to see a ninja? Right, they're starting to do their thing. Moon Circuit Hacker gets to draw a card. That is the worst of the 2 ninjas, but it does leave up more mana this turn. Stinkweed Imp Dredge. Forest from hand. I'm going to play Stinkweed Imp again. Counterspell, hell yeah. Alright, that's it. That's great. I like it. I'm going to leave my creatures back because I don't want my Moon Circuit to get hacked. Brainstorm after making their land drop. Cool. Relic of Progenitus. All right, well, there's the banger. Moon Circuit Hacker. I will block with Circle Druid. Circle Druid, target, I guess, Conduit Pylons. I don't think this deck's going to use their graveyard. If they have all these ninjas, where are they going to have room for terrors of the Teleria? Telerian terrors. Terror of the Teleria. New card drop. I could cycle this troll, but I'm very close to casting it, so I'm just not going to do that. Scrap Work Mutt. All right, well, let's get to work with these. Mutt, rebuild this graveyard. We know they can spell stutter this one, then I'll play the other one. You got me. Other Mutt. Discard Imp. Dredge. Okay, there is a Lotleth Giant in the graveyard. This is actually interesting, attacking with Satyr Wayfinder, reducing their fairy count, but I think my creature count's more important than their fairy count. They can't block. The good ninja. Their hand is Spellstarter, Sprite, and 3 unknowns. 2 unknowns. I think now, with Dread Return in my hand, I actually do want to get that other basic swamp. I sat on this troll for a couple turns trying to make it work, but I don't think we're there. Satyr Wayfinder. I can hardcast Dread Return here. I could also play, or Wayfinder runs straight into the Spell Stutter, which I don't want to do. I'm going to play this Stinkweed Imp. That bricks the ninja. It gets around Spell Stutter. It might be worth a removal or counterspell to them. And I'm going to attack with Satyr Wayfinder. Got to win the game somehow. Just stranding the Spell Stutter for a turn feels like a useful exchange to me. I'm on board. I have 2 things that stuff the ninja to collapse their draw engine. Yeah, no attack, no play. Just land drop go. Love that. Circle of the Land Druid. That's not what I want to be doing. I'm gonna, I guess, see what they're made of here. I'm just gonna cast Dread Return. It would suck to get Spell Pierced, but they can't Spell Stutter. I can bully Counterspell. I'm not even sure if Lotleth Giant is better than Troll of Khazad-dûm on this Dread Return, but that burn damage does feel nice. All right, opponent's at 13, and I have the biggest creature in the history of Earth. Do I want to attack with Scrapwork Mutt? Sure. Let's go. Come get some. Damage dealt. That's all I'm trying to do. We're just counting down from 20 here. Scred my giant. Okay, that's gone. Spell Stutter, 2 unknowns in the hand. One of them was just drawn. Preordain. That's what they just drew. So it turns out, in the face of a removal spell, the Lotleth Giant was better than the Troll of Khazad-dûm there. Take my Lightning Bolt on the way out. Preordain went top bottom. And then no attacks. Rumble. Okay, I think I do want to start flushing out these interactive spells. Like the Spell Starters in hand. Okay, they just don't care about that one. Dread Return, Scrapwork Mutt. What's the limit? What will they care about? Do they care about Satyr Wayfinder? No. All right. All right. Milled 4 cards, including Dread Return. That's good. Scrapwork Mutt lets me Dread Return multiple times this turn. Okay, Dread Return. Target Lotleth Giant. Sacrifice. Wayfinder. Circle Druid. And Satyr. I get to regrow a land here. I'll take that basic swamp. And I can still unearth the other Scrapwork Mutt for a second send. Counterspell. I will play the swamp. I am going to Mutt. Discard Malevolent Rumble. Dredge Stinkweed Imp. Dread Return targeting Lotleth Giant. I've chosen my path here. If their last unknown card is also Counterspell, they got me. Alright, well, they got me. But they got me in a way that I did mill over my last Dread Return. I have Stinkweed Imp in my hand. I can dredge another one, and I can unearth Mutt. And their ninja getting through for a turn, not ideal. But we're still gaming. There's 5 cards left in my deck. I'm going to mill 5 of them now. Or 8 cards left in my deck. I'm going to mill 5 of them now. I can't do that anymore. Stinkweed. Stinkweed. Next turn, send it. I'm not in good shape to a removal spell anymore, and I can't block. So this actually did get dicey. Do they recognize that I can't block? They do. Yep, I actually can't block. How many Pyroblasts have I been through? I see 1, 2, 3. One of my last 3 cards in my deck is Pyroblast. That's an exciting factoid to play around. Ancient Grudge. Okay. I can wait a turn and guarantee that Pyroblast is in my hand, or I can take the 50-50 now, unearth the Mutt. I'm going for it. Am I going for it? And every turn this ninja hits me sucks. All right, I'm going for it. Mutt, 50-50, coin flip. Discard Ancient Grudge. Malevolent Rumble, shit. Oh no. Well, I'm priced in. This is what I can do. It resolved. Draw a card. Come on, Moto. Let me do it. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm not sure. I mean, using every card in your deck to win, I think if Ninja of the Deep Hours wasn't attacking me, if I didn't lose the game to any Lightning Bolt, like Lightning Bolt, Scred, anything like that, and they get 2 draws to hit it, because I can't come up with a 4th creature. I get 3 creatures, and that's it. So if I had done the full count, Rumble is a 4th creature. Like, I didn't fully deduce what the last 3 cards in my deck were there, but I did count the most important one. If I did identify that Malevolent Rumble and Pyroblast were the last cards, then I could have left Ancient Grudge in hand. Then I would have drawn Rumble next turn, and then unearth the thing, discard the Ancient Grudge, draw Pyroblast, cast Rumble for a 3rd creature, if they had bolted one of my creatures before then, and then have Pyroblast back up. Yeah, they're taking the 50-50 versus taking the sure thing versus them drawing at least 2 cards in their deck with tons of relevant interaction. I actually don't know what was right there, but I'm glad I got away with it. On to the next round.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
I'm on the play in round 3. This hand might not be good enough. How much faith am I going to put in a Malevolent Rumble to get me where I want to go? Because it's not doing much after that. And Hardcast Red Return on Troll is a turn 3 play this hand is capable of. Alright, I will try it. The tap land's mess even that up, though. Can we see a land other than Volatile Fjord? A forest. Okay. What's this going to do? Llanowar Elves. Fun, fun, fun. Oh, that's great. Big hit. Malevolent Rumble. I think I want Satyr Wayfinder in this hand. Okay, that was mostly a whiff. My opponent could be on some sort of green Stompy deck. It could be actual Elves combo. I don't think Llanowar Elves is in any of the like mid-range rampy style decks. There's a bunch of like Writhing Chrysalis and stuff going on in this format right now in mid-range green shells, but I don't think those decks play Llanowar Elves. Elvish Vanguard, it's definitely Elves. Sweet. This will be scary if they combo off on me because I have kind of a slow hand. I can Gnaw to the Bone a few times, tread water. I need to start filling up my graveyard though, and Reanimating Troll of Khazad-dûm is not going to race this deck. Virtual Rangers, yeah, they're popping already. Their hand is Forest and 3 unknowns right now. Generous Int. I think I'm going to try to find the way here. I need to mill over a Scrapwork Trawler. Or not Scrapwork Trawler. That card's not in this deck. Scrapwork Mutt. Mutt seems to be the glue holding this whole thing together. I'll take a Pylon here over my other options because I want the mill. Stinkweed Imp, put it in the graveyard. All right. Some action. We're on the board. Something's happening. Okay, hope I don't die this turn. There are only 2 creatures in my graveyard. I can make it 3 and 4 pretty easily. Timberwatch Elf, that's the banger. All-time banger. Limited All-Star, Pauper All-Star. Target creature gets +X until end of turn, where X is the number of elves on the battlefield. And with cards like Quirion Ranger, you can fire this multiple times. This is how they get around chump blockers. Bouncing their forest on tap land or elves again. They're currently showing 3 mana. Winding Way. This is going to reload their hand. Just looking at current elves decks. Oh, cool. That was mostly a whiff. They hit a Findhorn elves. Looking at current elves decks on Goldfish, I see that they don't have main deck graveyard hate. Or at least the ones that I looked at real quick don't. Which is great news for me. And their sideboards don't seem particularly stacked with it either. I think I just want a forest here and focused on untapped mana. I hit a mutt. Good news, everybody. There's a mutt and a giant now. 4 creatures in my graveyard. If I unearth the mutt this turn, I can Lotleth Giant for 5 damage. That's not very much. I want to win when I do this. I could Dread Return the Lotleth Giant straight up. Is that even useful to have in play? I could also set up some Bone Gnawing here. I think I want to mutt just to get more stuff going on in my graveyard. Even if I don't end up going off this turn or doing a big thing this turn. Right, discard Stinkweed Imp, Dredge Stinkweed Imp. I hit a Dread Return. That's big. I do still have my land drop this turn. Yeah, I think I just want to bog my opponent. Not that I think bog's important. Dread Return targeting Lotleth Giant. And I don't want to attack first because if they trade Birchler Ranger for, or if they just untap their 4/4, pick up their forest and block, that's no good. All right, I've got a 6/5 Lava Axe. Could get smoked here. Maybe I'm supposed to spend a turn or two gnawing the bones, but I feel like I have room right now. They could go +10 to their board with Timberwatch Elf right now. The Findhorn in hand, so it's +12, 13, 14, 15. So I guess they are showing 15 damage right now. They would need haste or a lot of elves or a removal spell to really get it done. And I kind of like if Lotleth Giant dies. Prefer it in my graveyard. A 7 elves in play. That's +14 to their board. 15, 16 damage I would take this turn if I block Elvish Vanguard. And mostly the problem here is I've milled half my deck and there are only 5 creatures in the graveyard. This Lotleth Giant didn't do much, and Gnaw to the Bone won't do much either. Okay, so if I block this one, I take 20 and die, so I have to block this one. They'll buff this one to save it, and then they can buff the Ranger to push 8 damage as well. Or they can just buff and leave their Quirion Ranger unused. There's that one. Yeah, I definitely feel like I messed up this game. I did all the math and then just did something nonsensical instead. Really got to think of this deck as more grindy than it is combo. Okay, Forest is actually great. Scrapwork Mutt, Scrapwork Mutt is great. Forest doesn't matter, but Scrapwork Mutt lets me Stinkweed Imp. This is a blocker and a Gnaw to the Bone. Hit another Mutt. Gnaw is good for 18 life here. That may or may not be enough, which is sick to think about. But I'm going to pass with a blocker and a Gnaw to the Bone available. Llanowar Elves. That's worth 4 damage on this board because the 2 Vanguards and the 2 Timberwatch taps. I feel like everything should be attacking except for Timberwatch Elf right now. Alright, all I can do is block the biggest one and then Gnaw to the Bone and hope that the damage isn't there. Alright, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 I'm taking. If they untap, it's another 8. It's 21. Okay, I can survive this turn. Targeting a different creature. Gnaw these bones up. I gain 18 life, I'm at 30. I take 21. I'm at 9. Do I Dredge Stinkweed Imp here? How does this turn work for me? My opponent's at 15. I can hard cast Dread Return. How much damage is an all-out swing next turn? 8 elves, so that's 16. Plus 17, 24, 25, 26, 29, 30, 31. That's assuming they cast nothing from their hand. If I draw a land, I could Gnaw twice, and that would get me into the next turn. But then what? I have 2 Mutts in the graveyard. I can't draw an untapped red source here. I think I would actually draw a land, rather draw a land here. That didn't happen. How do I salvage? And not having an actual red land here has been devastating. Okay, Swamp Cycle Troll. Oh, I milled over my red swamp. Son of a biscuit. I have all my red. Forest still in the deck. Okay, I think I have to pass here. And I can gain 22 life off of Gnaw to the Bone. Alright, hope they can't make too much extra damage, and hope that... What am I even hoping for after that? It's not good. I guess what I have to do is mill 4 more creatures into my graveyard. I need to 15 them. I can Dread Return, obviously. Like, it's there. I have it. No blocks. They don't need to pump. They could just pass priority here and see what I do. Going for a pump, though. Alright, I'm tapping again. Alright, piling up the pumps. Pump the jam, pump it up. Cycle Troll of Khazad-dûm just to put a creature in my graveyard. I think I'm out of swamps to even get. And then I'll gain 24 life and hope it's enough, though I don't think it is. I don't know. I forgot how math works. It's close. Yeah, I'm at 3. Okay, so you're saying there's a chance. There's 12 creatures in my graveyard. If I dredge Stinkweed Imp, 15 creatures in the graveyard, that almost does it. I'm 1 creature short in the graveyard, because once I bring back the guy, it doesn't count itself anymore. If this was a red land, I think I would win this game easily, but it's not. I could mutt, and I can't even mutt twice. There's 15 creatures in my graveyard right now. I could just play a Stinkweed Imp as a blocker, gain 30 life next turn. That's interesting. Okay. I think that's the play. Stinkweed Imp, pass, gain 30, and block the 7/7. And then when Stinkweed Imp dies in combat next turn, I'll be able to Dread Return them for exactly 15. Masked Vandal, I don't care about that. I mean, it is 4 extra power. It triggers the Vanguards. It's 3 extra power because I'm blocking the 7/7 anyway. Yeah, this is the sequence I was trying to set up last turn, but I was a mana short. Here comes everything. Again, I'm not doing math. I'm just going to go to 33 and hope it's enough. Block your Vanguard. Again, they can just pass priority. They don't have to do these pumps. They seem just excited about the things their deck does. All right, still doing stuff. Okay. I think I'm good. Those numbers don't look big enough. All right, gain 30. I'm a 7. Killed their Elvish Vanguard. 16 creatures in the graveyard. And I could dredge Stinkweed Imp, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to take the sure thing here. Because if I dredge Stinkweed Imp and miss on a creature and lose because I did that, it's pretty bad. Okay. This should win the game. Cool. All right. Gnaw to the Bone, baby. All right, that got stressful. Suffocating Fumes and Snuff Out are good here. Gnaw to the Bone was important. I don't think I need to Last Rites this opponent. I mostly don't care what's in their hand. I'm seeing Fairy Macabre as a card in some Elves sideboards. Yeah, it's actually just Fairy Macabre. I'm clicking through a bunch of lists on my other monitor here. I just want to make sure that I am thinking about the things I need to think about. Yeah, it seems like Fairy Macabre is the thing, which Last Rites does answer, but this deck can outmuscle a Fairy Macabre. I outmuscled double Nile Spellbomb. Fairy Macabre ain't shit. I think I'm going to shave a Gnaw, even though that is how I won last game, but I'm bringing in so many things that help me not get to the point where I need to Gnaw to the Bone just to be alive. Exhume might not be good enough here. Like, this is a deck that can ignore and then outmuscle a 5/7, even on turn 2. Exhume gets completely blown out by Fairy Macabre. This would get me 2 Snuff Outs and the 2 Sweepers. I don't like Bojuka Bog in the matchup, but I don't think I can afford to shave a land. Does it even make sense that Exhume is bad? Like, is a Dread Return worse than Exhume basically all the time, except when you mill it over, which is what my deck does? I think I'm going to shave a Generous and get my last Snuff Out in here. Not an expert in sideboarding with this deck, but I think those are the cards I want in, and the cards I ordered out seem like the weakest ones. Okay, this is no sideboard, but does grind pretty good. I'm going to keep it. Quarian Ranger. Ooh, sick. Unlocking Swamp here is awesome. All right, cool. Now Snuff Out's a good draw, and I can play the Stinkweed Imp at some point, if the game is about playing Stinkweed Imp instead of discarding it. Priest of Titania. Insano mode. Oh, Gaia's Cradle over there. Probably better, because you can untap it a bunch of times. Right, chip shot with Quarian Ranger. Yeah! We love snuffing them out. Malevolent Rumble. I would like Scrapwork Mutt in my hand. Now I have to decide if I'm worried about Priest of Titania's mana output or if I want to try to kill the Timberwatch Elves that come out of it. And I think I'd rather do that. This is risky, of course. Like, if they just cast 3 Winding Ways this turn, I'm going to wish I had snuffed this out. But if they cast an Elvish Vanguard and a Timberwatch Elf, I'm going to be very glad I held it. Elvish Vanguard. So far, feeling good about my decision. Not as happy with this one. All right, Winding Way resolves. Oh, wow. The opposite. They hit everything here. Nyxborn Hydra, Timberwatch Elves, Quirion Ranger. Nyxborn Hydra is just like a big thing. This does have Trample and grants the creature, but it's bestowed onto Trample. Okay, 2 mana floating right now. I could snuff the Priest and just Time Walk them. I think that's what I'm going to do. Or it's not Time Walk, they've already done a bunch, but leave the rest of this stuff floating in their hand. There's the Ranger. Okay. They basically got Elvish Vanguard into play off of leaving that Priest. Like, they got that one on the house. I think I'm okay with that. Gonna have to be. It happened. We're here now. Yeah, let's just draw the best card in my deck every turn. How's that sound? All right, Scrapwork Mutt. This will discard and then Dredge Stinkweed Imp. And now I have an actual creature with power and toughness on the board, which helps against these chip shots with Quirion Ranger. Because remember last game, I was at 3 life, like sub 5 life multiple turns in a row, and these little chip shots would have done the difference. I think this snuff out is on Timberwatch Elf duty. I can even hardcast it in the near future. Timberwatch Elf resolves. I might just turtle up here, like play Stinkweed Imp, hold snuff out. Vanguard, I'm going to have to let this in one more time. Kind of want my creatures around. Next turn they can give something Trample. Not ideal. But they won't have Timberwatch. I'm going to make sure of that. Draw another snuff out. All right, no luck. I'm never lucky. This sucks. All right, Stinkweed Imp. The big blocker. And I have to snuff Timberwatch Elf now, or else I die to the Nyxborn Hydra. If they just target this twice, then give it Trample. I could wait until they put the Hydra on something and then snuff out the Hydra target, but they still get left with the Hydra, because that's how Bestow works. Even if you kill the target, the aura still drops in as the creature mode. Timberwatch Elf is the scariest thing going on right now. I don't love that I'm at 7 either. Just snuffing out is not free. They can currently bestow for 2, which is not that bad. I could take a couple points of Trample to trade with the front of it, then Dredge, then trade with the back of it. I think my life total will survive that. I'm also a land away from casting Generous Ent, which is the biggest thing on the board, and the food token is clutch here. Is Scrapwork Mutt going to block this turn? Yes. I don't want Quirion Ranger stacking. We've already talked about this. Another Forest. X-Bloom can X equals 2 here. Lead the Stampede. All right. They're going for a reload instead of a damage push. The damage push will be scarier once they reload. That is fair. Oh god, they hit 4. Quirion Ranger, Elvish Vanguard, Masked Vandal, Timberwatch Elf. Pretty good one. They can only play one of these cards this turn, though. That gives me some comfort. Masked Vandal does exile Scrapwork Mutt, though. That sucks. Ooh, Exhume. They have a Timberwatch Elf in their graveyard. That's not good. Probably can't actually cast this Exhume in that environment. Satyr Wayfinder. Find the Way. Milled 2 Lotleth Giants, so we did not find the way. There are 7 creatures in my graveyard. I can make it 8. Yeah, the problem is that Timberwatch Elf just kills me. This Timberwatch Elf kills me too, but slower. I think I should cycle Generous Ent this turn and try to find a win for the future. Okay. I'm just going to pass, hold, hope I don't die, and then try to get a big turn. And I don't even have a Dread Return. I'm not looking at one in my graveyard or my hand. So I don't know what my big turn actually looks like. I think I'm just going to die next turn to Timberwatch Elf. So if they play Masked Vandal and exile their Timberwatch Elf, my Exhume turns on. All right, now I'm dead next turn anyway. So Exhume's as good as any other card. It doesn't matter. Yeah, I can't do anything. Oh, wait, I have a Scrapwork Mutt. So Dread Return does play if I draw it. Oh, only 1 black is tough. I guess I Mutt here and hope to find a sweeper. Okay, I'm gonna mutt. I'm dead next turn. Gotta start doing stuff. Discard Lotleth Giant. Dread Return. That's too late. I had no opportunity for double black. Like last turn when I cycled Generous and the Bayou was already in play. I play a bunch of Taigas, only one Bayou. What if I attack with my two mutts? What if I exhume a mutt? Okay, I'm gonna try something here. I'm gonna attack with this mutt. They probably just don't block. But if this dies, I suddenly have options. All right, yeah, they didn't fall for that shit. 18. I can deal 7 right now. What if I exhume Satyr Wayfinder and flip a Dread Return? What about that? Okay, I'm going to exhume and choose Satyr Wayfinder. Or I could also hit Scrapwork Mutt here and have a shot. There's some stuff that could happen. I know 2 of their 4 cards in hand. If one of them is Fairy Macabre, none of this matters. All right. Vanguard's trigger. They brought back Priest of Titania. Satyr Wayfinder. We need a big swing out of you, fella. Snuff out Stinkweed Imp, Suffocating Fumes. I did spike another Swamp. So that is another round of self-mill. Exhume. I have a Circle of the Land Druid in there. I basically just have to mill into the other 2 Dread Returns now. I don't think I have another play. A Circle of Land Druid. Luckily, this is a gnome, not an elf. It doesn't trigger their vanguards. Let's see, 2 Dread Returns milled over. I'd like to mill 4 cards. 0 Dread Returns, all right. Okay, that was cool. And getting creative at the bottom, down in the basement there. Yeah, Exhume is definitely a non-boa snuff out. But it still feels right to have that card in my deck. I'm going to shave a knot of the bone and get another Exhume in here. I think focusing on combo makes sense to me. Oof. One of my best sideboard cards. This is not a green land. I have to mulligan this. No, deck, please. Don't betray me now. We're going to 5. Okay, here's a 5. I'm going to get rid of Generous Ent, and I guess it's Satyr Wayfinder. It's either Satyr Wayfinder or Wooded Ridgeline. All right, I guess it's going to be Ridgeline. I have been getting burned consistently throughout this entire league by not having access to red, but not having access to a graveyard is probably worse. And Wayfinder does that. Okay, now I have access to red if I need it. I'm going to find the way first. Conduit Pylons. Technically access to red. It's the ugly red. Quirion Ranger, Despera, Sentinel. This card is so much worse than Land or Elves. Incredible. It does turn on splash colors if they have any removal in their deck or card draw spells. Or fireballs. Another Ranger. This would be a great turn to draw the Sweeper that I play. The Suffocating Fumes off the top. No love. Okay. Am I going to cast 2 spells this turn? It's possible. Yeah, okay. Conduit Pylons. Mill Stinkweed Imp. Rumble. Dread Return just hit the bin. Babe Wake Up. Dread Return in the graveyard. I'm going to play Scrapwork Mutt here. And get another big send on Stinkweed Imp. Discard 1. Dredge. 1. Right, there's a Mutt. A Troll. All right, we did a lot that turn. Big moves just happened. 5 creatures in the graveyard, a Dread Return. Almost all my Exhumes are gone. Timberwatch, Elf. All right, we're on notice. They could generate 1 more mana this turn if they pick up their forest, and they do seem to value that. Timberwatch has 3 activations next turn. That's a lot. Another Sentinel. A Dredge Stinkweed Imp. Scrapwork Mutt in the bin. Another Dread Return spiked. Do I want to attack with the Mutt that I have? Would they recognize how important this is for me to have in play? Would they trade just Despera Sentinel for it? Is that good for me if they do? It's risky. Am I afraid of risk? A little. Yeah, kinda. All right. But if they block, so they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Timberwatch Elf's good for 15 next turn. I save 3 life if they're heads up enough to block. I'm going to attack with Scrapwork Mutt. Let's roll those dice. Oh, there's 6 elves on the battlefield. Why? Where's the other elf? Oh, it says 5. It's just small text. It's 5 when you zoom in. It's 6 on the surface. Okay, they did not block. That is just 2 free damage I get. Now I can Circle of Land Druid, and Generous Ent, and save all my mutts. That's cool. Okay. Circle of Land Druid. Really hope they don't have Fairy Macabre here. I would like to mill 4 cards. I'm going to cycle Generous Ent for the red land. That gives me some extra mutts next turn. Try to return Lotleth Giant. Get back. I think I'd rather have more untapped mana. Okay. They're at 7. They have to kill me right now, which they might be able to do. I do have a pretty sizable blocker, and I don't have... Or I do have another giant in the graveyard, okay. So I don't actually need this one to die. If they play 2 elves, I can't win, because they can attack for 21 with any creature. Oh, we're just in combat. I like that. Oh, Timberwatch Elf is attacking. I guess it can, because the Ranger doesn't matter. All right, time to do math. This is 5, 10, 15. Or no, it attacked once. Or they can still attack it twice, so it's 10. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. It's only 14 damage. And if I have the creature in play, that's better for me. Because I need 3 creatures to do my other Dread Return. Okay, yeah, this is 15 damage. I am not going to block. And they have mana back and can still do stuff like some pump spell, some fireball post-combat. There's stuff that could go wrong here. Oh, nice. I didn't fall for their tricks. Wow, what a crazy slugfest that was. I am impressed how every match has just gone deep into the dregs of the clock. I thought booting up Dredge for a league would be relatively quick, but this thing is grindy. On to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables. In this YouTube series, hosts Patrick Sullivan and Patrick Chapin go set by set through Magic's past, leveraging their decades of experience as Pro Tour players and game designers to analyze the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a deep dive into the facts, mechanics, cycles, trivia, decks of the time, and historical context of the set. The hosts dig into notable cards of the era and their lasting impact today. Each set gets an award show where the hosts pick their favorite cards for categories such as Best, Worst, and Weirdest. And finally, give a letter grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Resleevables has it at youtube.com/theresleevables. I'm on the draw in round 4. I have a great self-mill hand. A mountain, okay. Red burn. Who remembers this as something we do in this format? I'm gonna Leon Swamp. I'm gonna play Forest next turn anyway. All right, Kessig Flame Breather. That could be a lot of damage. I need to get to one of these Gnaw to the Bones before I'm dead, basically. All right, Cycle Generous Ent. I think I just want the other basic Forest. I want to make sure I can cast Gnaw to the Bone on time. Oh, sick. That's even better. Get cooked. The nut draw. We finally did this once in a league, or in a game. They might be able to burn me out over top of this thing. The food token helps. We'll see where this goes. But the ground is now shut down. I would not be worried at all if Kessig Flame Breather wasn't involved, but it is. Okay, grab the prize discarding Lava Dart. That's fine. That play's not going to kill me this turn. All right, we're saying there's a chance. I'm going to Malevolent Rumble here, because that leaves up food mana and starts gnawing my bones. Do I want Scrapwork Mutt or Satyr Wayfinder in my hand? I think it's Wayfinder. Just having mana to do all the cool things that I can represent here is pretty important to me. Do I start attacking? No, not yet. Probably soon, though. There's 2 creatures and a Dread Return in my graveyard. Highway Robbery. Another Madness Loot effect. I discarded another Flame Breather, trying to find their path past this giant 5/7 Tookus in their way. Do I want to gain the 3 life while it's here? I think I do. Let's just get that in the bank. Sucks that it cost me my fella, but I'll have to live with that. Milled over a Gnaw to the Bone, 3 creatures in the graveyard. Satyr Wayfinder, this is what you're for. Find the way. The Juka Bog, that takes out their Lava Dart, but I'd rather have access to red than fight over their Lava Dart. Okay, this is the most clutch turn of the game here. They've done a lot of sculpting. If they can 17 me out here, which is entirely possible, it's not great. If I untap with access to 3 Knot of the Bones, the 2 in my hand and the 1 in the graveyard, I think I'll be out of reach. Gutter Snipe, hell yeah. Okay, sweet. Opponent is setting up a combo kill. I've seen Kessig Flame Breather and the like in many builds of Pauper Burn. I don't think I've ever seen Gutter Snipe. When was this even printed as common? It must have been in some commander set. They love nuking Eternal formats for temporary gains on commander sets. I think I'm just going to gain 10 right now before they can respond to it and burn me out over the top. I'm at 23. They plotted Highway Robbery, setting up a huge combo turn. All right, this is the mono red deck that is well constructed to beat a turn 2 generous end. If anyone can do it, it's this opponent right now. Okay, I draw for turn. Troll of Khazad-dûm. I believe I'm going to start with a Scrapwork Mutt. Discard and then Dredge Imp. Discard and Dredge. There's another Mutt in the graveyard. I have 7 creatures. Have I milled my other basic swamp? I have not. Or I have a bunch of basic swamps. It's forest. I have 2. Nope, it's 1 swamp, 6 forest. I was right. My other basic swamp is still in the deck. That's good news. I'm going to go get it now. Swamp, play that, and attack with Scrapwork Mutt. Am I doing this? Lotless Giant's pretty big too. Okay, I'm gonna Dread Return Lotless Giant. Lotless Giant's just as big as Generous Ant for blocking, and we just did half the damage I need to win, and I put more creatures in my graveyard for Knot of the Bone. Can they combo kill me this turn? Could I have combo killed them last turn? This Dread Return in hand is giving me pause. Okay, I take 4 every time they cast a spell. Insane. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then some other stuff happens. I can gain 18 life at will. And then they can get me for another 4 in combat at some point. Fiery Temper plus Lava Dart. It's a bunch more spells. I'm gonna let all this happen. As long as I'm above 4 when I cast Knot of the Bone, I think I'm okay. Are they going to make a YOLO swing here? No, they're not. Okay, great. End step. Nah. They can deal 5 to me in response to this. If they have Fire Blast, I guess they win. Okay, cool. I didn't get Fire Blasted. Now I'm back to 29. I'm going to attack with Lotless Giant and then I think win the game. They can't not block this. They'll probably just put an Epicure under it. Okay, second main. Scrapwork Mutt. Discard and Dredge Stinkweed Imp. I just have to net 2 creatures on this exchange. Discard Imp. Dredge Imp. 10 creatures in the graveyard. This is a hardcast Dread Return, so this does 9. Do I have a third Lotless Giant? I don't. Ugh. Interesting. I can put them to 1. Or I would put them to 2. I'm at 29. Am I worried about that? 29 is so much life. All right, I'm going to Dread Return the other Lotless Giant. Or wait. If I hardcast Dread Return, I go down to 9 creatures in the graveyard. And then when I flashback Dread Return, I go to 11. And then down to 10 because of the target. Okay, yeah, so casting Dread Return on something like Satyr Wayfinder could win the game here. All right, just have to go +1 creature here. Dread Return, Satyr Wayfinder. Oh wait, that's Lava Dart blows this line out because that creature has a trigger on entry. Yeah, if my Circle of Land Druids were the other guy, I think this would be fine. A Lava Dart somehow checkmating me this deep into the game. Okay, I think I'm just gonna pass, or I'm gonna Knot of the Bone, gain 20, pass, kill them next turn. Yeah, I guess that's the plan. All right, I'm at 49, don't kill me, go. They can attack for 5. This deck is really tricky, the math is so complicated. The dredging and removing Scrapwork Mutts and then reanimating the giant changes how many creatures you have. Another Gutter Snipe. Lava Dart's now good for 7. I'm kind of regretting not taking that Bajuka Buck earlier. That one Lava Dart just really messing with everything. Combat damage. Leaving back an Epicure. Okay, so they're not planning on killing me this turn if they're leaving back a blocker. I like that. Okay. Draw for turn. I am going to Scrapwork Mud again. Because I know that this 2 damage is lethal, but they might not. Like, I either get to trade for Gutter Snipe or put them to dead by bringing back this Mutt. Discard and Dredge Imp. Went up to 11 creatures, so netted 1 creature there. Or netted? That's not how we say words. Okay. I'm going to attack with both of these. If they block with Gutter Snipe, all right, Lava Dart from hand, that's a little spooky. All right, so they're not going to block with Gutter Snipe. I am going to take a Gajillion. Scrapwork Mud dies, but not to the graveyard, to exile. Jump with Epicure. 2 darts in the graveyard represents 16 damage, and they're at 10. All right, so I'm still 1 short after doing all that. If Malevolent Rumble hits an untapped land and a creature, I can win here. And, oh, but I only have 1 green, so I don't have the fail case. If I miss on the untapped land, I can't even Gnaw to the Bone. But if I had tapped the other way, I wouldn't have enough black to make this line work. All right, how many forests are in my deck? There's 1. There's only 1 in the graveyard. 1 forest in the graveyard, 2 in play. I play 6. Conduit Pylons works. All my swamps are in play. My pylons are all gone. So I have 4 looks at 3 forests. Do I think they can deal 40 damage in a turn from 2 cards in hand? 18 from the 2 lava darts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 from combat. That's 24. They need another 15 damage, which is not hard to come by. Okay, I actually think they can definitely win. Can they kill me from 60? All right, I'm just going to Gnaw to the Bone and call it a day. Okay. I tried to do that math so many times, and it just wasn't mathing. Right now, slightly worse than 1 in 5 cards in my deck is a forest, and I only get to see 4 cards. And if I hit the forest, I have to also hit 1 creature. I didn't even account for that math. Okay, Highway Robbery, Sackdom Mountain, and then they played another one. Lands are good for me. At 55, attack for 6. I'm at 49 in play. And then the darts are another 18. I'm at 31. They have to do 31 with the 3 cards in their hand. And each one gets a +7 bonus. If they have 3 bolts, that actually doesn't do it. Because bolts worth 10. Like 10, 20, 30. Wow. If their hand is 3 lightning bolts, them still not killing me. That's crazy. No, Sneaky Snacker. The best red card in Modern Horizons 3 for Pauper. Leaving a blocker back. Okay, sweet. I'm not dead this turn. I'm going to draw and Dredge Stinkweed Imp. 13 creatures in my graveyard. Okay, now they actually need main deck Graveyard Hate to kill me. I don't know what that would be. Like if they're just playing a Fairy Macabre or some surprise counterspell. That's how they can win this game now. Let's just not do that. Dread Return, targeting Lawless Giant. And I can... No, I can't. I can have a blocker, but I can't flashback Dread Return this turn if they deal with the first one. All right, sweet. That was scary. 2 combo adjacent burn decks meeting in the field of battle. They are going to have artifacts to attack my graveyard. I want my Grudges. I don't think I want Suffocating Fumes. Most of the creatures I saw were tougher than that. The Exhume did buy me a bunch of time that game, but it does seem like the least important thing. Like, I'm not winning a race with Exhume. Last Rites. That could be worth a lot of damage. And it's a mass discard effect, which is just as important as anything else going on. They do use their graveyard with both Lava Dart and Sneaky Snacker. Yeah, I think I'm going to cut Exhume and bring in Ancient Grudge and leave it there. Gnaw to the Bone, of course, the MVP. I gained like 80 life that last game and it was still competitive. I will keep this. The mana's wonky, but it's there. Generous End's a great find. Now I don't have to play my Bajuka Bog. Conduit Pylon. Scrapwork Mutt. Yeah, I mean, banking one of those in the graveyard's fine. I'm going to shuffle anyway, so it's not like I'd get to draw it. Maybe I'm actually supposed to play Conduit Pylons, cycle Generous End in response, and then let the Surveil resolve then I actually get a meaningful surveil instead of just a mill one. Yeah, that's better. Okay. Sequence optimization unlocked. Get basic forest. Gonna start finding the way. Got a mud anyway. Scoreboard. Satyr Wayfinder, milled 4 spells. Knot of the Bone among them. Another Flame Breather. Faithless Looting. I take 2 from that. I'm going to take 1 from combat. Lava Dart. They dumped a Sneaky Snacker, but they've already drawn too many cards this game, or this turn. And my Bojuka Bog's gonna find a home here. Pretty excited for that. Yeah, I think Bojuka Bogging a Dart and a Sneaky Snacker out of their graveyard is better than holding up Knot of the Bone this turn. Okay. They decided the land was worth getting the Dart on the way out, on the Wayfinder. All right, that's gone. 3 objects of value removed from the graveyard. Mutt, discard, and Dredge Imp. 6 creatures in the graveyard now. Okay, if they either burn me out or graveyard bomb me this turn, those would both be really effective. If they just like play out some creatures, I think I'm doing great. Can't afford to block. We're in there, untapped. Successfully untapped. Okay, I'm going to play a forest and pass. The timing here is going to be interesting. I'll probably just go in their upkeep. Cycle Troll of Khazad-dûm for the extra 2 life. I'm going to get the Red Swamp if it's still in my deck. It is. And then Knot of the Bone for 14. Hope I don't get double bolted in response, but they could have done that last turn if they had it. Their 5th mountain of the game. That's more than they ever want to draw. Okay, they have a Dart for my Mutt, but they know I have Imp in hand, so putting Mutt in my graveyard isn't entirely free. Generous Ent. Right, I'm going to play Mutt from hand and see where that goes. Well, it's not going to go anywhere. It's going to mill Stinkweed Imp and then pick it back up. Okay. Build some Imps. Red land in play. Pass. Next turn, I make my big move. I have a Dread Return. I can discard Lotleth's Troll from my hand. I will not be blocking here. I want all my creatures. They can mess with me with the Lava Dart. Yep, okay. Did decide to do that. It's probably correct. And now 1 land away from Generous Ent, which is an insane thing to ram into play, or I could cycle it and make my mana better for an attempted combo turn next turn. I can only put 2 creatures into play. I'm actually going to draw. Circle of the Land Druid. Okay. Circle of Land. I would like to mill 4. That's a creature. Stinkweed Imp's a creature. Now we're just counting creatures in play to cast Dread Return with. This also stops the beats from the creatures. 16 life is a lot, but not totally safe. Fire Blast is the card I'm worried about. I don't even know if they play that, but it's the card I'm worried about. Hardcast Fiery Temper. Okay, it's go time. There's 13 creatures in my graveyard. If I attack with Stinkweed Imp first, that's a damage that gets through. If I leave Stinkweed Imp in play, or do I just cast Generous Ent? 11 is a lot worse than 16, though. It would take 3 lightning bolts, or 2 lightning bolts and 1 spell of any kind next turn to finish me off, because bolt's worth 5 on this board. I could also just Dread Return a Generous Ent and have mana up to eat my food. That costs me my combo kill. Like, that's the only Dread Return I have access to, but I do have a bunch of Mutts and a Stinkweed Imp. Yeah, I think I'm actually interested in that. Okay, I'm going to attack for 1, and then put Generous Ent into play. If they have Fairy Macabre, I'm in trouble, but then I would just cast Generous Ent next turn, and Fairy Macabre doesn't do damage. Life total would be pretty low. All of the lists I peeked at online, though, had spell bombs and relics and stuff. But this opponent is kind of a mono-red Madness sub-theme. They're not full Madness burn. Okay, Scrapwork Mutt. Unearth that. Discard Lotleth Giant. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, I'm almost casting that. I'm actually going to discard Ancient Grudge. And then Dread Return targeting Generous Ent for the juke. And Circle of Land Druid gets a land back, which means I can cast Lotleth Giant next turn. All right, my Ent is in Wooded Ridgeline, and I didn't mill. I wasn't doing any milling. Why would I mill? Leave green up so I can Ancient Grudge, but I'm going to gain my 3 life now before they can go off over top of it. And I hope this slow techie line pays me out better than trying to send it and hoping they didn't have burn. Another hardcast Fiery Temper, relatively harmless. I will dredge Stinkweed Imp. Creatures in my graveyard are important. There's 14 of them. If they don't block this Generous End, they lose. Didn't block. What could go wrong from 14 life? Pew pew pew. Nice. Okay, that matchup felt really... It felt more like we were solving a puzzle slowly than it did feel like we could really lose. It was more like, what's my tolerance for risk on any given turn, more than, oh god, how do I win this? That was kind of just fun and relaxing puzzle to solve. And it was my fastest round yet, only 30 minutes instead of the normal 50. On to the final round. We're a few rounds into the video. If you're still here and having fun, remember to hit that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, use code BOSH for 5% off your order at toamagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the draw in the final round. Positive records locked. Bread and butter 4-1 on the line. This is a lot more Dread Returns than I want in a hand, but this is the fastest Exhume I've had. I'm going to keep, if I draw an untapped land, I can decide which of my monsters I want in play on turn 2. If I don't draw an untapped land, I just have to do it a little slower. Dross Forge Bridge. Have we finally paired into Jund Wildfire, the top deck in the format? There we go. They're doing it. This is a deck with 2 Nile Spellbombs in the main. Annoying, but let's get to work. That's all you can do. I've been having this conversation a lot in Legacy lately, too, because that format is dominated by graveyard combo decks right now. Just having something like Nile Spellbomb or Soul Guide Lantern in your main deck, something you can dig to, something you can park and play, and you don't have to worry, like, it's just really good. Really good to have those things. And I'm going to cycle Troll before I make my land drop, because I'm going to get one of the tap lands here, the Haunted Mire, and I'll pass with that. This deck's removal is very good. I don't expect this troll to go coast to coast. Pick a Wellspring. I actually can beat a Nile Spellbomb in an interesting way here. Okay, sweet. So here I'm going to cast Exhume. Exhume doesn't target. So I cast Exhume. If they Spellbomb in response, I let it resolve, then I cycle Generous End, and I still end up with a monster. Okay, yeah, they know that trick, and they're not worried about Troll. Pretty smart. This deck's full of just cast downs or even Writhing Chrysalis. Tangle's pretty good with Troll of Khazad-dûm. It brings its own squad of blockers. Another Wildfire. Rampant. I love this interaction, and I'm honestly pretty stoked that it's in one of the top decks of the format. Okay, I'm going to play Swamp, and I'm going to attack with Troll. If they cast it down, I'll just hardcast Dread Return second main. Okay, they didn't do that. In that case, I'm playing Stinkweed Imp. We're on the beatdown strat. Fanatical Offering, eating their Ichor Wellspring. They've got life to work with here, and I really only have one thing going on. Refurbish Familiar. Oh no, I hate discarding cards in my Dredge deck. I'll discard Gnaw to the Bone. There's the Chrysalis. Now they got enough booty around to tangle with a Troll. They could block and trade off a bunch of their stuff for my Troll this turn. We'll see if they want to do that. I'm going to attack with Troll of Khazad-dûm. If they block with everything, then sack both their spawns to grow the Chrysalis. All right, here you go. This is allowed. Okay, so they're going to let Refurbish Familiar die, and they'll float a bunch of stuff into their Chrysalis. And I'll play another Stinkweed Imp. Just a creature with Death Touch. Pretty good against Writhing Chrysalis. This is so boring. I just want to be dredging, but this is the gear that we're put into. Familiar, I'll dump a Dread Return this time. I'd really like to cast this Generous End. Another Chrysalis, let's go. Mid-range cards in Pauper, who would have thought? Okay, now they can actually beat Troll of Khazad-dûm in combat. I think that's fine. I'm going to attack with just Troll. They can block, 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 sack the 2 spawns. They have the bigger creature. Then I hardcast Dread Return. Then maybe we get this Spellbomb out of the way. And then we can move forward with 2 Imps in play and a Dread Return to my graveyard. All right, both Chrysalises grow. Oh no. Your creature's a 6/7. I didn't think of that. Dread return this troll. They could also just let troll resolve and beat it with their cards and keep the Nile Spellbomb. Okay. Finally worth the Spellbomb. I don't like it, of course, but it takes out a Dread return. That was honestly pretty low stakes. It took a Dread return out of the mix. The other one's still there. I can cast Generous Ent next turn, who now sucks pretty hard. It touches butts with the Chrysalises. Oh, come on. All right, well, they found both of their spell bombs. Now we're in trouble. Another Wildfire. So many resources available over there. If I were them, I'd be tempted to attack with the little Chrysalis and the Refurbished Familiar, keeping the big one as a threat back, but still working on my life total, and in a spot where the stakes are low, like trading off with a Stinkweed Imp when you have Nile Spellbomb's not that bad. A Troll. That's like the other one, but actually good. Okay, I'm gonna pass. If they didn't have Familiar, I would be attacking with one of the Imps, but I don't want to trade it for Familiar. I want to save it for a Chrysalis. Eviscerator's Insight, eating their map token. I love eating maps. That's what you do with a map, right? The fourth Wildfire, that's all of those. Unless they're cheating. I hope they play another one so I get to win automatically. That's my only way out of this game. But I've said that before. Lembas. Okay, I have a pretty good troll attack here. This will kill the smaller Chrysalis and the Refurbished Familiar if they block, and if they don't block, they take a huge chunk. And look what I drew another copy of. Troll of Khazad-dûm. We're making a game out of this one. They haven't drawn a cast down yet, which is pretty lucky for me. Oh, they failed to find on their fetch. Lost track of their basics over there. I'll take that. All right, Eviscerator's Insight, eating the Lembas. They do also have the Toxin Analysis, Quark Clan, Shaman combo in this deck. Blood Fountain's pretty good. That gets back Refurbished Familiar. They only have the one. That's good. I kind of want to play out all my big dumb 6-drops before they get to pick one off for free with Familiar. So far, I've done a good job maneuvering around this card because my deck just likes its cards in the graveyard, but I actually want this one in my hand. Oh no, the third Chrysalis? What's going on over there? Oh, Nyxborn Hydra. Creature mode. Just need to go wide here. Gotta survive the combat. So theoretically, if I attack with everything, I win. If I attack with everything and they have a removal spell, I'm in trouble. All right, here we go. Or no, they can block one troll and one imp and go to 1. All right, they finally drew a cast down. Bad news, everyone. My mighty Gambit just got BTFO'd. Yeah, just piling the whole squad onto Troll of Khazad-dûm. I'm going to deal 5 to the Chrysalis, of course. And now we are definitely behind. That was the turn they needed the removal spell, and they did have it. But I'll keep tapping out for 6-drops, but they have Blood Fountain to get back the Chrysalis and the Familiar, or just 2 Familiars, get me Hellbent, draw a card. I'm not winning this game anymore. That was the turn where some magic had to happen. Though all my Lotleth trolls are still in the deck, they're at 7 life. They have some Lembas that can gain life, but I do still have some rips. All right, they're popping their Spellbomb now. That takes an Imp and a Dread Return out. Twisted Landscape. We know they don't have any fetchables left for that. Makeshift Munitions, my favorite Pauper card. And by that I mean I hate this card. We'll see if it deals 20 to me this game. Whenever you sacrifice another Eldrazi, put a +1 counter on this. Okay. I don't want to trade my Generous Ent for a map token, so I guess I'm taking 6 here. They're tapping a lot of mana right now. It's another Hydra. Yeah, it is. Okay. 7/8 Hydra in play. The Mutt. The Mighty Mutt. They can kill Stinkweed Imp, basically at will. I'm going to get it into the red zone. Let it do something with its meager existence. Okay, I've cast, I think, a world record number of Lord of the Rings land cycling cards this game. That's 5, right? I cast 3 trolls, or did I reanimate the first one? I think I reanimated the first one. But I've certainly tapped 6 mana for one of these things many times this game. If I double block, okay, so who's attacking? The Hydra's attacking. Where are my good blocks here? They can sacrifice an artifact or creature to deal 1 to any target. 14 toughness here. 6 power. 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, I'm going to double block the Hydra. They get to take one of the Ents down with it, Toxin Analysis. Now they get them all. Okay, now I've lost this game. Enough has occurred. Another well-constructed deck with multiple Nile spell bombs. Hardly seems fair. Ancient Grudge hits multiple things in their deck. Snuff out can kill a Chrysalis. I don't think that's my main objective, though. My main objective is not getting my graveyard bombed. Last Rite seems dope. Gnawing to the Bone could matter, but less. It's more about them getting control of the game, and then I can't really do anything, than it is about a race to the finish. And I think I want to shave one Dread Return if I'm going to be casting stuff. Exhume is still pretty sweet. Throw on any Knot of the Bones. I could add a Bajuka Bog. They do have some stuff that cares about their graveyard, but it doesn't kick in until later. Evolution Witness could be the grindy tool we're looking for in this matchup. Is getting back a Lotless Giant to replay it again. That doesn't sound right. I think I'm just going with the Ancient Grudges, keeping it light. I will keep my hand. I'm just going to play the Forest. Bajuka Bog might find a home later. A Bridge. Another Wayfinder's nice. This is a lot of throwing stuff around. I'll take the one land I'm offered, and Generous and Dread Return, Malevolent Rumble to the bin. The Slagwoods Bridge, where your mom is from. Nile Spellbomb. I hate it here. Okay, Ridge, Wayfinder. There's a Stinkweed Imp in the graveyard now. That might incentivize them to bomb proactively rather than in response to a Dread Return. There's an Imp and a Return in there at this point. The more I can get them just using that versus using it in response and also blowing out a Reanimate, the better. Okay, now they don't get a card off it. That's big. I am going to Dredge Imp because I think I'm just going to kill Nile Spellbomb this turn. Or at least force the pop. Yeah, I'm going to activate Scrapwork Mutt and see what they want to say about that. Activate Mutt. I'm going to discard Ancient Grudge. I am not going to dredge Stinkweed Imp. I have another one ready to go. I'm going to attack for 4 and then Dread Return something. Though, that might not even be good. Or I can do both. Yeah, Dread Return, targeting the Ent. Does this make sense? Like, I'm not going to get the Ent, and I can kill the bomb anyway. Yeah, it doesn't make sense to Dread Return, actually, because then I don't have 2 Satyr Wayfinders in play. Okay, that's fine. Ugly, but we do what we gotta do. And land drop, pass. I have a quick Troll of Khazad-dûm next turn. The Cycle plus Exhume is here, ready for me. Ichor Wellspring. Blood Fountain. That is the card that primarily cares about their graveyard, but there's no creatures to get back yet. Another Grudge. All right, I'm gonna cycle Troll. Or is Lotless Giant better than Troll? No, it's not. All right, cycle Troll. Am I going to cast 2 spells this turn? I think I might. Okay. I'm going to get Swamp, and I'll play Scrapwork Mutt, dredge Stinkweed Imp, and then have a wider palette from which to exhume. Discard and dredge Imp, exhume. Just found another troll. That works. Mildhover Last Rites. It's a shame I only got to cast that card twice this league. It's such a sweet one. Fanatical Offering digs a bunch of cards. They are still in the dig phase and not in the stabilized phase, and they have missed land drops, so their hand is full of spells, and they're stuck on mana to actually deploy them. Refurbished Familiar can put Stinkweed Imp in the graveyard. Don't mind if I do. Oh, they got me. Well, sick one. Good sequence. But I'm going to get them too. Ancient Grudge, this Familiar. Bog you right back. Take most of your life points with me, and I can cast Lotless Giant next turn. Okay. Pass. If they have the Krark-Clan Shaman and the Toxin Analysis, they can Wrath here. Right, that can put them to 6. That won't save them. Bottom the Scry. Oh no. They've got it. The combo here is giving this Death Touch and then dealing 1 damage to each creature without flying with it. You gain a bunch of life and kill everything without flying. Okay. They're just dealing 1 damage to each creature without flying. 2 damage. 3. 4. 5. Oh, okay, they're sacking their lands and shit. They're in emergency, like full-ass Wrath mode. That's fine. They just died a Lotless Giant here. I can simply cast this card, and they take 4 damage. I land for turn. Don't have Nile Spellbomb with your last mana. I hate it here. I'm quitting Magic. It's over. This is the last league I'm going to record. Thank you all for supporting the channel all this time. All right, so I've been bombed. There's nothing to Ancient Grudge on the way out. Okay. Lotless Giant. Unfortunate. Troll of Khazad-dûm. I mean, I'll cast it. I'm going to play around Refurbished Familiar by not playing this forest, because Lotless Giant is a game ender at some point. Lembas. If they had cast down last turn, they would not have sacked their whole board to kill my troll. So if they come up with a spot removal spell, I think they just drew it. Okay. Attack. This is an outrage. Okay. I think what I want to do here is ping them for 1 with Lotless Giant. Because if I Exhume, they get their Shaman back. And if they kill Lotless Giant, I might be able to Exhume and just kill them with another ping in the future. Stop! This deck is full of great cards. That's why this is one of the top decks in the format. Oh god. Alright, well, Troll would have beat this, where Lotless Giant does not. But they would have had the Shaman, which was my concern the whole time. Blood Fountain. Yeah, that's just a bunch more Refurbished Familiars down the road. Oh my god. And they had Cast Down. This is fucking nuts. Stinkweed him. Okay. Something to cast. I think the tables have turned here, but I still have the Puncher's Chance. They can gain 3 with Lembas whenever. I don't have a lot of faith in Lotless Giant, unless they start killing my imps and letting me dredge. Munitions is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 damage in the bank. I'm going to hold on to this forest. They're at 2. Alright, yeah, I'm going to attack. I think dredging is good enough here. Even if they get to Refurbished Familiar. Okay, they're blocking and pinging. That's fair. I'm going to play out the forest because I know they can buy back Familiar. Fanatical Offering in the end step. Familiar draws a card if you're Hellbent when it triggers. And I'd still, I think, rather have my land than them have an extra, then try to deny them an extra card. Level and Rumble. A lot can happen here. Rumble. Generous Ent. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can cast that. I'll take anything with real stats. Do they have to... Okay, oh no, I don't have a Dread Return. I was about to say, did they have to ping my spawn in response to Generous Ent? But no, they do not. Easy answer. Okay. Oh, they didn't ping that time. They took the trade. Cast down. Who would have thought Doomblade was so good in Constructed Magic? It's actually better than Doomblade because it's killed Troll of Khazad-dûm multiple times this game. Blood Fountain, getting back 2 familiars. These draw 2 cards. There is a Stinkweed Imp in my graveyard now, for the first time in forever. Dredging the Imp. I will put it into play. And they're killing my spawn in response. Ha! I'll float mana. Your ability fizzles. See what the chat log says? Makeshift Munitions is removed from the stack because it has no legal targets. Scoreboard. I'll eat my food here. It doesn't do anything else. They might just play to deck me here. How many Scrapwork Mutts do I still have? There's still 2 in there. Interesting. Alright. We can play this dredge game. That is a play someone would make who might have more graveyard hate in their hand. But it's also a play someone would make if they're trying to win the game. There's 6 creatures in my graveyard. How many Reanimates do I have in my deck still? I boarded out 1 Dread Return. We started with 8. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 accounted for. There is a Dread Return in my graveyard now. It's really hard to get there, though, because of Makeshift Munitions. Yeah, I'm not going to have 3 creatures in play. And I just milled an Exhume. So that's 5. Okay, I think I actually have to play to drawing one of my last Reanimates. Because they can just pick off a creature anytime I have 2, and the 3rd one's on its way in. They can remove it. Okay, they're pinging my Imp now proactively to get the damage through. Sacking lands to do it. They've got plenty of them. I don't blame them. Yeah, this thing's pretty good. And Writhing Chrysalis is whenever you sack an Eldrazi. It doesn't say when you sack an Eldrazi spawn for mana, so they can ping me with spawns off Munitions, which also grows Chrysalis, so that's like double damage. Alright, I'm just taking draws here. and hoping to find one of the reanimates before it's too late. Okay, do you have Graveyard Hate in your hand ready to go right now? Lawless Giant into play. All right, they get to trigger first. And Moment of Truth. This deck is tricky. Can they deal 16 to me? Not with this mana. Lembas is not in play. They did not get back Karkland Shaman with the Exhume, so Toxin Analysis isn't something that could gain a few life in response. Okay, they could Toxin Analysis their Chrysalis to get a clue token. I don't think that thing having lifelink matters. Oh, yeah. All right, to game 3. They got 4 minutes 45 on their clock. Okay. That game did come down to understanding the outs, which was have to draw one of my reanimates. And I did have a Scrapbook Mutt in the graveyard, which could have looted anything into a reanimate. And it was like 10% on each draw, increasing slightly each time because there were only 10 cards left in my deck to hit that last Exhume. But I just found it on time, so we'll take it. It might be petty, but with 4.5 minutes on their clock, I'm thinking about these Gnaw to the Bones again and kind of just making them win. Will they be able to do that? If I cut a Last Rites and bring a Gnaw to the Bone back in, I mean, Gnaw is as weak as anything to Graveyard Hate, which they're packing in spades. Yeah, maybe that's not actually good. Last Rites seems sick, though. They're not a deck that can counter it, so if I cast it, it's happening. 3 felt like a good number of Ancient Grudge. Evolution Witness dies to all of the pingers that they play. Probably not interested in that. What if I bring in the Snuff Outs? Like a Turbo Chrysalis is one of the ways they can win quickly. Nah, I'm just gonna play my deck, play it straight, and hope it's good. This is a turn 2 Troll of Khazad-dûm. I've heard that's good. Though I do have to get Basic Swamp if I want it on turn 2. Which sucks because this deck doesn't play on mono black. This is a base green deck. I will probably take it slow and get good mana rather than... Oh, I have another troll. That's not even true. Yeah, I'm gonna just turbo this thing out and then get the other one. Unless they play Nile Spellbomb, then I'll take my time. Ichor Wellspring. I'll get the other basic swamp. Little awkward to have to play like this, but it's quite good. Oh, check me out with my forest. All right, Exhume, 6 power creature, and I can do it again next turn. This is the blitz. I was worried about how they're going to win in 4 minutes. Maybe I'll just win in 2. Lembas, too slow. I have to be really worried about the Toxin Analysis sweep up combo. If I have double troll in play, that's such a beating. Okay, attack with troll. I'm just going to do it. This is the position I find myself in. Swamp Cycle Troll. Grab a red swamp, play basic swamp, re-exhume. They don't even have black mana, so they would need the A, the B, and black mana after missing a land drop last turn. If they have it, I'm cooked. But if they don't, they're cooked. Oh, and they scooped it! Yeah, got it fair and square. Okay, so this was a 4-1 result, where round 1, I had never played this deck before, made a few mistakes, and timed out in a game that was still competitive, and maybe even I was ahead. That was literally 4 hours ago for me. Maybe I wasn't ahead, maybe I'm remembering wrong, but I'm kind of remembering the game being close to positive when I ran out of time, and that's a strong showing for this deck. I played through a lot of main deck Graveyard Hate, basically had no idea what I was doing, making it up on the fly. If you put the work into really understanding this deck and building it for the metagame and everything, I can see why it would be successful. I don't really have thoughts on how this is constructed because it is my first league out with it, and anytime I'm sent a deck like Dredge or Oops All Spells or Storm or something that's like well off the beaten path of how normal Magic decks are built, I trust it to the experts. And I'm sure you can identify the flex slots, like do we need 3 Gnaw to the Bone? Do we want 4? Do we want 2? Is Last Rites worth 2 slots? Do we want 1? Any number between 0 and 3, I can be convinced on this. The Circle of Land Druid versus the Bramblewood Elemental, is that what that thing's called? Probably not. The 0/3 that mills you for 3 and you can pick up a land or put a +1 counter on it. The extra points of toughness and you get the land up front versus the point of power and you get a land later. I feel like the toughness is better because just having creatures in play for Dread Return and being able to block things like Gutter Snipe come up. I feel like I would play the other one if it was up to me, but this one mills 4 and that one mills 3. So maybe it's just a raw mill count number. Scrapwork Mutt felt like the best card in the deck. Like the most Narcomoeba-esque card. Like Narcomoeba is the card that's really missing from this deck to send it into the stratosphere. And I hope they never print that card at common. It doesn't make any sense. It was uncommon in Future Sight, then they made it a rare the next time they printed it in Return to Ravnica. So I think they know what direction they're supposed to go with that one. But all it takes is one stupid commander set where self-mill in blue is a supported archetype, and maybe we have common Narcomoeba. But I'm glad we don't. But that is the card that makes Dredge really good in extended formats, eternal formats. And Scrapwork Mud is the thing in this deck that feels like Narcomoeba. I don't know if there's more of these we can play, like do a Scryfall deep dive, though Unearth on a Looter is pretty particular. Common. I don't know, I'm just rambling here, but this deck is sweet. I could see the appeal. A lot of really good gameplay, grindy as hell. Don't be confused with Legacy and Vintage Dredge, where your games are going to be over quick. You're going to be working for him here. Brad, thanks for sharing this. This league was honestly awesome to play. Everyone, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, check out the Patreon. I'll see you next time.